time. Again, I am your host, Rachel Weaver, and we will see you next time.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Legal Talk on the Now Media Network. I am your host, John Mitchell, and boy, oh boy, do I have some great information for you today on the show. Now, one of the things that I am asked very often as a tax attorney, people come to me and they say, John, I got paid from my boss. They take out taxes. They don't take out taxes. What's the form I'm going to get at the end of the year? How do I pay my taxes? How do I do this? How does this all work? So in fact, a couple of weeks ago, somebody asked me, could I talk about this on the show? And so, here you go. I will talk about it today. And I'm going to just give you the broad overview because nobody wants to go through hundreds of little rules from the Internal Revenue Code. But I'm just going to give you a broad overview. Everybody out there can know how this works, okay? So what is the difference between being paid as a worker? So let's say you're a worker someplace. What's the difference between being paid with a 1099 versus a Form W-2, right? And the big thing to remember is the W-2, if you're getting a W-2 and they're taking money out of your paychecks, that means that you have been classified as an employee, okay? And when you're an employee, like I said, the first thing to remember, the employer withholds income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax from your paycheck, right? And at the end of the year, you get a W-2, which actually is just a summary of all the withholdings, the earnings that you've had during the year, and the withholdings that they took out of your paycheck and what those withholdings are for, okay? So Social Security and Medicare tax. Now, Now, the other thing to remember is when you see on your paycheck that the employer paid you and they took out $100 worth of Social Security tax, the thing to remember is that the company also paid a matching amount from that. Okay, so your total Social Security tax might have been $200. They took $100 out of your paycheck, but the company paid another $100. And it's the same way with Medicare tax, okay? So the Social Security and Medicare tax is a little over 15%. And so 7.5% they take out of your paycheck. The other 7.5%, that's just a business expense to your employer, okay? And that is the reason why, that's one of the reasons why a lot of companies really prefer, whether it's correct or not, that's a whole nother argument, but that's one of the reasons why many companies prefer to go ahead and pay you as an independent contractor, because if they pay you $20 an hour and you work 40 hours, that's $800. They write you a check, they're done with it, right? They're not withholding money. They're not sending money to the IRS. They're not paying their portion of what would be the taxes, right? So the other thing about being an employee is you can be eligible for employee benefits like health insurance, retirement plans, vacation time, or what they commonly call paid time off, PTO. So all of those are benefits that you might get as an employee, and you will not be getting those if you're paid as an independent contractor. But on the flip side of it, as an employee, you have less flexibility, right? Less flexibility with your time, less flexibility with how you do your job, and importantly also less flexibility as far as tax-wise deducting business expenses. Okay, so if you're an employee, you don't really get to deduct business expenses like, for example, mileage or whatever, because the law supposes that the company is paying for those expenses, right? So you don't have materials, supplies, uniforms, all this stuff. If you're an employee, the law presumes that the company is taking care of that, and you don't get to write that off on your tax return. So you have, you have a benefit on one side of the coin, and what might be not a benefit on the other side of the coin, because on the one hand, you get paid, you get benefits, etc., but then you don't get as many tax deductions. Okay. Now the flip side of that is, if you are considered an independent contractor, or what they also call self-employed. Okay, so if I'm an independent contractor and I work for your company throughout the year, I do some work, and then at the end of the year, you're going to give me a Form 1099. And that Form 1099, all it is going to be a summary, an amount is going to be on the 1099 for how much money you paid me during the year. Okay, but there are no deductions like would show up on a W-2. So federal tax, Social Security, Medicare, I am responsible for all of those taxes. So I have to pay my own taxes if I am an independent contractor, okay? And not only do I have to take care of paying that and sending the payment actually to the IRS, but I also have to pay both sides of the Social Security and Medicare. So like I said, those are 15%, a little over 15, but call it 15 just for easy numbers. And if I'm an employee, you take 7.5% out of my paycheck, but the company pays the other 7.5%, right? If I'm an independent contractor, I'm responsible for paying that entire amount by myself. So I get no withholdings, but I have to pay the thing, by myself, all right? It's completely my responsibility. Now, the good side of being an independent contractor, and believe you me, folks, I've talked to people who say, I'm an independent contractor and I don't want to do I don't want to be paid any other way, right? Because when you're an independent contractor, now you have some flexibility. I don't like to start work at 8 a.m. I like to start work at 9 a.m. I don't like to get off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I like to get off at 2:30. So a true independent contractor is supposed to be working under a system where they tell you what needs to be done, and you figure out when and where and how to do it, right? So so there's a degree of flexibility. Also, the other thing, like I said, if you're getting $20 an hour and you work 40 hours, that's $800. Boom, they're going to give you your $800. Then you have to figure out how to pay taxes, et cetera, et cetera. But some people just like that extra flexibility of being able to be an independent contractor. And I've had people tell me, I'm an independent contractor and I don't want to work any other way. All right. So now, the other thing to remember, and I already mentioned this, but just to underline it and bold it a little bit, if you are an independent contractor, you are typically not going to be eligible for any benefits. So for example, if the company you're doing work for and you're an independent contractor and they usually give people 2 weeks vacation, 3 weeks vacation, whatever it may be, that you're not going to get that. You're going to get paid strictly hours worked, and that's going to be it. Okay, so that's the broad overview. That's the difference of being paid as an independent contractor versus being paid as an employee. You either get a 1099 at the end of the year, or you get a W-2 at the end of the year. And you have, if it's a W-2, you have some withholdings, and the company pays part of your taxes for you, but then it's a little bit less flexibility. So that's just the broad strokes, and that's the summary of it. If anybody out there has questions about this or doubts about it, you can always reach out to me. My name is John Mitchell. I'm a tax attorney here in Houston, Texas. My number is 713-333-0555, or you can shoot me an email, jmitchell@cctaxlaw.com. I'm happy to talk to anybody over the phone or a quick email. I just love talking to people. I love helping out with answering questions and getting your taxes straight. So thanks again, everybody, for being with us today on the show. We are going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with more good, actionable, solid information for you here on Legal Talk. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for these commercials, and we'll be right back.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
The legal profession is not immune to the disruptive power of artificial intelligence. AI is reshaping the way lawyers research, analyze, and manage legal matters. AI-powered legal research tools can sift through vast volumes of legal documents, statutes, and case law in seconds, providing lawyers with comprehensive insights to build their cases. In courtrooms, AI is used to manage and present digital evidence effectively. It can organize and analyze evidence, making complex cases more understandable for judges and juries. In contract review, AI quickly identifies potential risks, inconsistencies, and compliance issues in legal contracts, saving valuable time and reducing human errors. The future of law is being shaped by AI. AI is streamlining legal research, improving courtroom presentations, enhancing contract analysis, and making legal information more efficient and accessible. Data Dive, infinite insights instantly.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital-first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations for more than 30 years with paper to digital processes, including scanning systems for any document to premises and cloud document management systems. We make it easy and scalable for your business process needs from the office or other locations, even mobile devices. Contact us to see how we can help your organization succeed. Contact Will Waterall direct at 713-446-5939 and visit us on the web at precisionproductsinc.com.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, who is Quigley? I'm a Navy child from Lexington, Kentucky. I earned 3 law degrees, 2 bar exam passes. I worked in the trenches in East Asia and Europe for 10 years as a young man. I've got 30 years of business ownership experience, including retail stores, wholesale businesses, production workshops. I've done stints in finance on Wall Street and in many other areas. Quigley and team, we're taking the White House to make government work for the people. We will tackle climate repair, introduce Quigley Care. We're going to create millions of new business owners, millions of new homeowners. We're going to tackle student loans and lower inflation. The time has come to take back the government to solve problems. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, find the donor box button, donate your spare change. Team America needs you. Join. We will make America work for everybody.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Legal Talk. I am your host, John Mitchell, and we are here on the Now Media Network. Very pleased, very happy, grateful to have everybody out in the audience here with us tune in today. Boy, oh boy, do we have some excellent information for you. I'm so excited. I'm so enthusiastic. I've got today with us Robin Grain, divorce mediator extraordinaire. She has agreed to come back and be tortured a little bit more with my presence here. Just kidding. But she's decided to come back on the show and be with us and share some excellent knowledge. Very pleased to have her. So thank you very much, Robin, for coming back on the show with us.
Thank you, John, for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Hey, so we've gotten some questions in to come in, and I know we talked a little bit about it before we got started. So we'll jump right in and ask, first question. So that would be, let's say I'm getting a divorce. Okay, so tell my wife it's not really true, just as a hypothetical, right? So I'm getting a divorce. I got a business. Business has got some real estate, right? Like let's say I've got an office building my business is in. How is that real property going to be addressed in the context of a divorce proceeding if it's in the name of a business?
Okay, that's a good question. So all assets in a divorce, we're going to have to, we always are going to do 4 things. We're going to determine what the asset is. In this case, it's a piece of commercial property. We're going to determine what its value is. If it's going to be part of the divorce, we're going to determine who owns it, and we're going to determine what its classification is. Classification will be key when answering this question. What classification means is that office building part of the marital estate? If it belongs to the marriage, which means it was purchased during the marriage with marital assets, that doesn't mean that there can't be a loan still attached to it, but was the money that was put into it marital? If so, it can be on the table most places, on the table for division and distribution in a divorce. But if it's owned in the name of just the business or just one of the parties, judges most places, certainly in my state, Virginia, they can't order that it be sold. In other words, you couldn't just pull money and sell it and take the net profit and start dividing that up. But what a judge could do is let's say that this commercial property is owned in one spouse's name, the business owner spouse's name, or it's owned by the business, the judge could take all of the other assets in the marriage and give it to the non-business owner. So that's kind of a you got a lot of facts that you're going to have to dig around and to get the answer to that. But that's okay, because that's what lawyers and mediators do.
Yes, indeed. Hey, that reminds me, when I was in law school, we studied about Roman Emperor Justino, a very famous jurist. He made civil code and stuff. And so they asked him, Justino, what is justice, right? How do you define justice? And he said, justice is making sure that every person gets what they deserve. And so that's kind of what you do, like King Solomon. You're out there helping people get what they deserve, in the context of going to Splitsville. So very important work. That is hands-on doing justice right there.
Yeah.
And so that leads me to the next question. So let's say you got some property, you're going to divide it up. So you're telling me that property that's in the name of the business is part of the business. So what kind of options are there when you're dividing up the property like that in a divorce? If it's part of the business, would you, let's say, maybe take the value of that and maybe offset it with some other type of a marital asset, or how would that work?
Yes, you could. That happens all the time. Offset it with a marital asset. However, in a lot of the cases that I've dealt with over the years where there's a business, so many small business owners put all their extra money, quote unquote, into the business. They don't have tons of cash laying around. They don't have necessarily huge retirement accounts, especially if they're in the middle of building that business, which is unfortunately often when the marriage ends because of the distraction of the business owner building the business. But oftentimes what's going to happen, the best that you can do is pay the non-business owning spouse out over time. So it kind of looks like alimony, but it's not. It's what we call a periodic monthly distribution of property. And sometimes that's the best that you can do. I mean, unless you're very wealthy and can offset that payment with something else.
Right. And that's why it's so important, the work that the courts do, that judges do. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing, and that's a discussion that I've had, many times with people. The court is supposed to be, it's kind of like making a tailor-made suit for each individual's needs, right? So you have to, I have seen this many times, just like what you're saying. People don't have a bunch of extra cash laying around, so you do the best you can do. You divide it up, and it might have to be, periodic payments. And I think, so the follow-up question that I've been given here, and I think you already touched on that. So just to, reiterate, if you've got a business and the business has some property, let's say the business owns real property, the judge really cannot force a business to sell property as part of a divorce settlement. That's what I'm understanding?
That is my understanding how it works most places. Remember, I am in Virginia, and I know Virginia law. A judge couldn't even order somebody to sell real estate if that real estate was just owned in one spouse's name, which seems odd because that property might belong to the marriage because it was acquired during the marriage, but a judge can only order jointly owned property to be sold. But if there's no other place to get well, I have to say, John, that's why people need to mediate. It's in the courthouse that things get very complicated, and the judge's job is not to necessarily be creative and structure a settlement. It's the attorney's jobs of the people that are in court, the people getting divorced, to present to the judge their creative, what we often call structured settlements. But in mediation, it's three brains getting together and figuring that out. Me and the two clients, the two spouses. So when you have a case where there's a business involved, that's always a complicated case, almost always a complicated case. And I would recommend that those types of people stay away from the courthouse because they need to be creative, and the creativity can be created in the mediation for everybody's best interest without it costing you $1 zillion.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, that reminds me of this saying that I always say, and it's so true. Even a bad settlement is better than a good lawsuit 7 days a week, right? So I think that's very important, the thing that you're bringing up. That's the reason why it's so important to use folks out there, use a person like Robin, a mediator, because once the judge starts imposing his will, I mean, everybody walks away unhappy. But if you go to mediation, that might be your best shot at getting the justice that you deserve, right?
You
because
should
you've
start there.
negotiated it.
However, in these business cases, sometimes that's where you do get some, really like hiding of money or trying to hide money. And these cases do oftentimes end up in litigation because there's a trust factor. So though I would always recommend mediation, if the non-business owning spouse has even, has a feeling that the other person might be trying to hide assets, no, mediation is not the way to go.
Yeah, so in other words, maybe folks are not dealing in good faith.
Yeah, you can't mediate at a firm like mine. I do not require that people have attorneys. If you mediate with one of the firms that allows the attorneys to direct the process, which isn't my style of mediation, then you can mediate. So, but you got to believe that the other person's telling the truth, or you need a lawyer.
Okay, so that's wonderful information you shared with us today, man. We so appreciate you coming on the show and sharing all this good stuff with us. So please, just to close things out, let's tell people how can they go ahead and get a hold of Robin if they want to do that.
All right, you can go on my website, which is super simple, grainmediation.com. It's right up there on the screen. You can call me, believe it or not, I'm one of those people that still gets the phone, or you can email me. And then there's also a little button you can push to book a conference with me if you prefer that way. It's all good.
All right, Robin. Well, thanks very much again for being on the show with us today. I am sure that everybody got a lot out of that, and as did I. I learned something new every time Robin comes on, so really appreciate it. And thanks very much, and thanks everybody out there for being with us. We will go and take a quick commercial break, and then we will be back with another segment of Legal Talk.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new CareWatch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The CareWatch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. The CareWatch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your CareWatch right now. Operators are standing by.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. You know, Trump wins the Republican nomination hands down. Quigley beats Trump. Biden and all of the Democratic and Republican primary wannabes are status quo institutionalists backed by status quo donors. Trump is an obstructionist, a populist in modern language. Quigley, like Dwight Eisenhower, will use government to lift all citizens, to solve problems with common sense. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been wasted in these primary campaigns because Americans reject institutionalists and the status quo. Even my paranoid fellow independent, Robert Kennedy Jr., spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on unnecessary security details. Americans want a government that has their backs. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, donate what you can, join Team America, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Legal Talk. Hope you enjoyed that good commercial break. And now we are back for another segment with our favorite guest, Robin Grain. She is a divorce mediator working out of Virginia. And you know, on the break, we were chatting a little bit, and I just thought it might be a good moment to just make sure that everybody understands, because we're, being broadcast in several different jurisdictions, and just make sure that everybody out there understands. Robin is located in Virginia. She's going at answering these questions based on Virginia law. And, divorce and family law matters, they're really state dependent. So, the law in one state doesn't necessarily match the other states. And so just caveat out to people out there, this, whatever we see here on the show is not legal advice. And, your best advice is to find somebody. This is general information, so find somebody in your state that can answer your question, more particularly according to the law of the state where you are located. Is that about right, Rob? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's about right. But I think that there are the laws over time have become more uniform state to state, and there are certain principles. And you may have noticed in some of our other interviews that when I know it's a very state-specific matter that I'm talking about, I do mention the fact that I practice in Virginia, and that's where my expertise lies. But there are plenty of things that are applicable throughout the whole country. I'll be sure to mention it if it's a little out of my purview, because it's. And sometimes Virginia law is strange, and I know where it's strange. I won't mention that if I know that what I'm used to dealing with every day is different than what it is most places.
Right. Well, yeah, and that brings up a good segue into our next set of questions here, because last time we chatted, we were talking about real estate as part of a business, right? So jumping a little bit ahead and talking now about intellectual property, okay? So as you know, businesses, intellectual property is a big deal. You got your trademarks and your patents. So the question is, let's say you got some intellectual property in a business, a trademark, patent, whatever. How is that valued, and how is that divided up during a divorce proceeding?
Right. Well, first I'd like to say most of that work is not done around where I am. I'm in the D.C. area. That's kind of more your L.A., your New York kind of stuff. But I do see a little bit of that, usually in terms of, I've had several clients that have written books. I would say that if you have some valuable or fairly valuable intellectual property, which is books and movies and ideas and things of that nature, you're going to want an expert to value that. You're probably going to have to ask your mediator or your attorney for a referral for an expert, and they might not have one, but they might have to ask their colleagues for a referral for an expert. These people are not a dime a dozen, at least where I am. But you're going to want somebody that maybe even an intellectual property attorney might be the first place to go. Not that they would be your expert that would be able to value that intellectual property, but they would know the experts. Does that help?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is very helpful. So in other words, just to summarize that, you're going to probably need an expert to help evaluate that. And, divorce attorneys have worked with this type of case before. They probably know the right people. So that's a good resource for folks out there. First thing you'd want to do is ask your attorney, does they have anybody they usually works with? And, same thing in my line of business. I know people, so if something is outside of my purview, I definitely probably know somebody that I can send you to, so that we can work as as part of a team effort to get to the right result. So now moving along. So let's say you're in the midst of a divorce, or you are about finishing up a divorce. and now you've got some intellectual property as part of a business venture. What kind of challenges do you see that business owners could face in keeping control of their intellectual property after a divorce?
Well, if it was the type of marriage where the owner of the intellectual property chatted it up with his spouse about that intellectual property, now you have somebody that could leak that intellectual property. Let's say you were getting ready to launch a business based on, I don't know, a patent or an idea or a writing. You might want to investigate some sort of a gag order, which I haven't done in any of my divorce cases that I've been involved in when I was a litigator. But I would definitely be looking into that. I mean, that's a real volatility there that your spouse is going to spill the beans on something that needs to have a tight lid on it until you launch the whatever project that you're launching. I'd be very concerned about that.
Right. Yeah. Hey, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Well, they know all your secrets, though. I mean, you know when you get divorced, whatever your secrets are is.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It can be troubling for people.
Yes. People get in a divorce type situation, and all of a sudden that person that you've spent maybe years with, maybe decades with, that person that you have confided all of your deepest, darkest secrets, not that secrets are necessarily dark, but they know all your secrets, and now that person is out there and they've got maybe some kind of a penchant for vengeance or something. And so got to be careful with that. So gag order, that might be, might have to do something like that. Now, let me ask you this final kind of
even with a gag order, some people are willing to violate a court order. I have a lot of cases that my clients have security clearances because I'm in the DC area with the government and the military industrial complex and all that. So I have quite a few clients that their first thought when the marriage ends is to come to mediation because it's a confidential process. Whereas if you take your divorce case, and especially your divorce case where there's an intellectual property matter that you're trying to keep a lid on, and you go bouncing into the courthouse because you're going to litigate, guess what? That's a public process. So that's a problem. So once again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or try to convince everyone to go to mediation. But if you want to keep things quiet, you are not going to litigate. You are not going to go to the courthouse.
Right. Another good reason to engage in some mediation, keep things a little bit more private. So that is perfectly understandable. So anyway, last question for this segment: can intellectual property be considered to be separate property, or is it always necessarily a part of the marital estate?
Oh, that's a tough question. But that kind of applies to the same thing with businesses. Okay. So if that intellectual property was created before the marriage, it does not belong to the marriage. If it was created during the marriage, it came from the brain power of the spouse whose name is on that intellectual property. It's possible that it could be considered separate property. Now we're getting into the weeds of state by state law. But even so, I would say that in most states, it would be a tough battle if the intellectual property was created during the marriage to say that it was the separate, in other words, it doesn't belong to the marital estate, the separate property of the creator of the intellectual property. If perhaps it could be considered, you know what, it would be tough. That would be a really tough call to do that. I mean, I'm thinking that it could be considered analogous to personal goodwill. In other words, if a business is 100% kind of like me, and there was nothing to sell in the business, sometimes that can be considered separate property, but usually not. Usually not. It's what people don't understand that they get upset about in my mediations is it's so much about timing. When was that asset acquired? Intellectual property is an asset, just like a car and a house. So that would be a tough one to try to take that off the table.
Right, you know,
I hope that helps.
That's why we get paid the big bucks, Robin.
This is what keeps the
leave it
lawyers
to the
in
experts,
business,
right?
If there were easy answers for these hard questions that you keep throwing at me, people like me and as a mediator and the lawyers wouldn't have work. It's not easy. It's complicated.
Yes, indeed. It's complicated, but you know, people are in good hands when they call you, and so if they want to call you and they want to be in those good hands, how would they go about doing that, Robin?
Just go on my website and you'll see all the different ways to contact me through the website. Phone number, I do get the phone. Email, the website is right up there on the screen, and I would be happy to answer your questions. I get calls from all over the country. I can usually help people one way or another. I can at least steer them in the right direction. Sometimes we even get on the phone and look at the mediators in their area, and I help them pick one. So don't hesitate if you're not in Virginia. I'll do my best.
Yeah, there's a rumor going around, Robin, that if people call that number, they actually get you on the phone.
They get me, yeah. Or they get my voicemail, but they do not get an assistant. Many years ago, I had an assistant that was very smart, and she couldn't help herself but to give legal advice to clients, so she had to go. And I thought after that, I'll just do it myself. And if people have to wait 24 hours, that's not the end of the world. They will get me.
Right, got it. All right, so you heard it out there, folks. You know, if you have questions, you have a burning desire to, you know, get your divorce done, you know, the best way possible, help you out with all these sticky questions about real estate and intellectual property and all that good stuff. Call Robin, you get her on the phone, go to the website, and you're going to get in touch with one of the best folks out there. So appreciate everybody being with us on the show today. Appreciate Robin coming on and sharing all that good knowledge. Thank you very much for being with us, to Robin, and thank you to the folks out there, audience. Again, my name is John Mitchell, host of Legal Talk on the NowMedia Network, and we will see everybody out there next time.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, it's international relations, where I have 10 years of living and working experience. Biden's knee-jerk reactions and World War III. Within hours of the conflict, Biden was sending more warships to Israel. Hamas and the Middle Eastern destitutes can't be eliminated with war. They are humans suffering. Huge resources committed to the Ukraine and the Russian war, Chinese aggression in the Western Pacific, North Korea living in fear of nuclear annihilation. Our enemies around the world seek to draw us into regional conflicts to weaken our military. Quigley supports deep, sustainable engagement with all parties when possible. Food and sustainable prosperity prevents war. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, donate what you can, join Team America, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
The legal profession is not immune to the disruptive power of artificial intelligence. AI is reshaping the way lawyers research, analyze, and manage legal matters. AI-powered legal research tools can sift through vast volumes of legal documents, statutes, and case law in seconds, providing lawyers with comprehensive insights to build their cases. In courtrooms, AI is used to manage and present digital evidence effectively. It can organize and analyze evidence, making complex cases more understandable for judges and juries. In contract review, AI quickly identifies potential risks, inconsistencies, and compliance issues in legal contracts, saving valuable time and reducing human errors. The future of law is being shaped by AI. AI is streamlining legal research, improving courtroom presentations, enhancing contract analysis, and making legal information more efficient and accessible. Data Dive, infinite insights instantly.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital-first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations for more than 30 years with paper to digital processes, including scanning systems for any document to premises and cloud document management systems. We make it easy and scalable for your business process needs from the office or other locations, even mobile devices. Contact us to see how we can help your organization succeed. Contact Will Waterall direct at 713-446-5939 and visit us on the web at precisionproductsinc.com.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Legal Talk on the NowMedia Network. I am your host, John Mitchell, and boy, oh boy, am I excited today. Why am I excited? Because I've got with me a special guest, very special guest in the studio right here in Houston, Texas, and my friend Rick Emerson, who is a professional clothier. And he is the guy that's responsible for all these fine threads that I wear on the air every week. And I have brought him in to let everybody get kind of an insight into what it is he does professionally, how he can help you. You folks out there, if you're watching the show, you're maybe attorneys or you're whatever kind of professional you are, you're watching the show and you're out there hustling, you're trying to make it work, trying to make things happen. And you know, everybody out there can kind of know how important it is to have a very professional image, right? I had a boss before who used to tell me, you know, John, if you don't look right, they're not going to want to pay you the big bucks, right? So that's very important. And so today I want to welcome our very special guest to the show, Rick Emerson. He's a very professional guy, helps me with all of my fashion needs. Rick, thanks for being here with us on Legal Talk, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, John, for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so you just before we started recording the show today, you told me, Rick, that your favorite title that you say is professional clothier. So how long? Kind of give us an insight into who is Rick, right? Like, how did you get involved in that, and what's the backstory?
Well, the backstory to kind of start from the beginning. So, believe it or not, I was actually born in Japan. I lived there for 6 years. Then I moved to South America, lived there for 3 years. Actually speak a little bit of Spanish. And I've kind of always been into fashion and the look industry. So I've always had a kind of a desire to want to do that. And I came across a job application to work for a clothing company, and I applied for it. And I originally started out in the administrative side of it. And we did that for about a few years back in 2016. Did that for a couple of years, and I moved into the sales side of it. And I've just been doing that since and absolutely love it.
Oh my God! That is so exciting, and you know what? It's a very important thing that you do. Like I said when we were opening up the show, people out there kind of realize this, but maybe not as much as they should. Your image is everything. My wife, the first thing she says is, "What I'm selling, number one, is me." Right?
Correct.
And people
100%.
have to know you, they have to like you, they have to trust you. Part of that is your image. The old saying, don't judge a book by its cover, but you know what? That's just a saying. People really do. I read some statistics sometime. You have only so many seconds to make a first impression on folks.
Correct. I could be wrong, but I think it's like 3 seconds. I think you have about 3 seconds where someone the first image they see of you is what they're going to perceive you and base their thoughts about you on. So really, that first impression is what actually does make a difference and really does matter. Even like you said, don't judge a book by its cover. In the world that we live in today, people do.
Yeah, I'm sure they really do. They really do. I was telling also a little while ago, I was telling you about how this literally happened to me. I was meeting with a client at the office, where I work full time, and as I was on the way up, 3 different people said, "Oh my God, John, you look good today." I said, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And now I've got Rick to thank for that because, again, he has helped me choose out all of this fine clothes that I wear to make a good impression out in that professional world. So go a little bit deeper if you can. Deep dive. How important have you seen it be for people to present a good image of themselves?
Well, it really does make a really big difference on how you kind of either are going to start your day, how you're going to present yourself, how you feel. Ex-NFL player Deion Sanders, current head coach, he said in a quote, "If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good." So
my goodness, I have often thought of it as kind of a circular thing, right?
Correct.
And I had never heard that Deion Sanders had said that, but I could not say it better myself, right? If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good, or play in that context, but you work good, right?
Exactly.
You can walk around with that air of confidence. Somebody once said to me, John, you walk into the room as if you own the room. And that always stuck with me. I had not even thought of it that way. I had not thought of myself like that. But he said, yeah, you walk in like you own the place. And I said, man, oh man, that's kind of a perception that people can have,
sure.
Right? And if you look good, I mean, that is just going to make you feel good. Then that's going to roll on down and make you be that success that you need to be. So do you have any kind of a story that you can tell us, or an example of how how you've had I know you've been in the business for quite some time now.
Yes.
And so you've had occasion to hear people say something to the effect of, "Hey Rick, thanks for that good help with my image. It helped me out XYZ way." Do you have anything that you can tell us about that?
Sure, John. So I actually, every now and then I'll get a couple clients that will text me in the morning Like I have a big meeting they have to do today. They'll send me a picture of wearing one of my threads, and they're like putting on my best, the Tom James suit today, and it just gives them the power, it gives them the confidence to do what they're going to do. I had a client who he closed a really big deal in one of his meetings, and he was wearing my threads, and he said that it just gave him the confidence. I'm not saying that was what did it, but I'm not saying it didn't either. So it just helped to play a part in it, because the confidence you have when you put on something that fits good, wears well, feels great, just helps you out throughout your day so much more.
Now, that's a couple of important points that you're touching on here. Something that fits great. Now, I know this personally, but why don't you tell everybody out there, what is the process, okay? So, like, let's say I call you up. I'm a brand new guy you've never met before. And I say, Rick, I got your number, and I really am interested in looking my best. I'm starting a new job, or I'm going for the big business deal, whatever the case may be. How would that work? So you're going to come out. First of all, one of the things you do here in the Houston area is go to the person. Busy professionals, I'm sure, really appreciate that. So they don't have to take their time, hop in the car, drive down to the store, and wait and see if somebody can take care of them or whatever. So you make an appointment and you come out to the people. Is that right?
Absolutely, John. How the process goes is the company's motto has always been, we come to you with fine clothing. So I'm all about meeting with my clients at either their home or their office, just to really save time. Time is money, time is valuable. It's the one thing we can't get back. So that's what I do, meet with them, kind of just first talk to them, get a better understanding of what they're wearing, who they're meeting with, so I can have a better understanding of how I can best assist them on their day-to-day wardrobe.
Right, yeah. And so then when the person decides, yeah, I want to buy something, Rick, I want to get me a new suit. I want a nice gray suit. And so you would then go ahead and show like fabrics and show all the different options because as I know, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know that there's a different range. So you can go the more economical route, or you can upgrade. There's 2 or 3 different levels that you can buy at.
Correct.
Right? So you're going to walk them through that and make sure that whatever they're buying, they're going to be comfortable with, and they're going to be comfortable in, because you also do all of the measurements.
Yes, correct, John.
So you take the measurements, and let me tell you this, I'll tell you now, one of the main things that I've been so happy with, and I've been dealing with Rick, folks out there watching, I've been dealing with Rick for a good few years now, right?
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I am so impressed with, Rick has an iPad, believe you me, with images of every piece of clothing that I've purchased. And so I can say, hey, remember that shirt that I bought with the blue buttons on it? And he's scroll through, yeah, this one, right? So this is a really not only bespoke clothing, but also bespoke service, right, that you're going to get when you deal with Rick. And so that's one of the things that I've been very impressed with, and that's a very good service that Rick offers. So that's a very important thing, I think, to bring up.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that, John. I appreciate it. You've been a wonderful client. It's been awesome working with you. It's a real pleasure every time I get to hang out with you.
Well, I was going to say, you said, oh, I go to the office or go to the home or whatever. Yeah, and I was just thinking to myself, you've been to my office and my home.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it is really, really rare nowadays to get good service, just ask AT&T customers, right? It's hard to get good service. Usually AT&T is great, but I'm just making a joke because as we filmed this, recently they had a big hiccup in their system.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
But in any event, look, I really appreciate you being with us today, Rick.
Of course.
Thanks so much for making the drive out here and being in studio, be on the show. And let me just ask you this one final question. Let's say if somebody wants to get in touch with you and they want to no pressure. This is not a pressure guy, right? You call, Rick will come out. It's a big giant suitcase full of different fabrics and different options and folders with the type of cut that the suit can have, everything you can imagine. He's going to come out. You're going to be really comfortable talking to Rick, and it's going to be a great experience. I know personally. All right.
Yes, sir.
And so, how can people get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is just straight through my cell phone. It's 832-494-4212. You can also reach out to me in email. It's r.emerson@tomjames.com. And you can also go on the website, which is tomjames.com as well, and you can just request to close the air, type my name in, and all my contact information will pop up.
Man, oh man, that's wonderful. Well, like I said, appreciate you coming out today and being on the show.
Of course, John.
Appreciate
you having me. Thank you
yes,
so much.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
May you have much success and address many successful people.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, we're going to talk about Republicans and obstructionism and big oil. You know, Reagan raised and lowered taxes. Reagan said he hated government, but that was rhetoric only. Conservatism and international trade killed America. You know, Republicans and big oil, they want dysfunction, extremism, and divisiveness. The USA can't survive without big government. You know, modern young Republican leaders totally misunderstand life in the jungle is short and brutal. Big oil and the wealthy want to stymie federal government. We must take care of all of our neighbors. Join Team America. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com. Donate what you can. Together, we will make it work for